I'm thinking it's time. Gotta get it. Gotta get it. I'm thinking it's time. Gotta get it. Gotta get it.
Thank you so much for that great welcome. Let's give him another round of applause. He is great. I may take him back and make him a star in the United States. We'll see. Will you go? Will you go? He said yes. I heard him say yes. I am so happy to be here to share with you some observations about the way the market works in the United States for promotional products, and to really talk about what is going on there and perhaps what you can take away to help you as you think about your business. The markets are very aggressive and very fast-moving, and what I want to do is share with you some of the things we're seeing and help you to try to apply that, in your business. First, let me just tell you a little bit about ASI to recap some of the things he said. We are a network of the distributors and the suppliers in the North American marketplace. We have about 23,500 members of that marketplace, about 3,000 suppliers, and the balance are distributors. They range in every size that you can imagine, some incredibly big. Our biggest supplier is over $1 billion in sales. Down to smaller companies that are part-time as distributors or part-time as suppliers and are very active and very enthusiastic in the market. I think one thing that we share, based on just a few days here, is an incredible enthusiasm for what we all bring to the table. At ASI, in addition to our ESP platform, we also have 3 large trade shows across the United States. We have a lot of keynote speakers. This happens to be George Bush. We also had Bill Clinton a few years ago. So we really try to bring distributors in and talk about what's going on in the marketplace, but also share with them things that other people outside the marketplace have observations about our market, about business, how to make decisions. We really try to bring people together to really learn as much as possible about this very important marketplace that we love. In addition, we have a very active educational activity. We spend about $1 million. Let's see. Sorry about this. I'm a little back. We spend about $1 million in educational activities for the marketplace every single year. We bring in speakers. We have keynotes. We have many tracks about social media, about how to run your business, how to create a strategic plan, as well as all sorts of information about how to understand the decorating trends in the marketplace, understanding the pricing trends, the color trends, all the kinds of things that help make a business really operate. We're really proud of that. Those classes are free for our members. They each pay a membership fee, so those classes are free, and they're online as well as in person. In addition, I mentioned our 3 shows. We also have ESP. That is really the business platform that operates the North American marketplace. We have 3,000 suppliers with all of their products, about 1 million products in the database, and those products allow distributors to find every product they need, create proposals, and send proposals out to their clients. So that's a really important part. I think of it as sort of a Google, if you will, of promotional products. And here are some key stats. We have about 1 million products in the database, all orderable. The 3,000 suppliers, there are about 40,000 people that use this platform on a monthly basis. We also build and host websites for distributors. We've built and host about 15,000 websites for distributors, and there's nearly 3 million searches a month in this database. So that's sort of who we are. There's a lot of issues going on. Let me talk a little bit about the industry as a whole. So let's shift away from ASI and talk about the industry. The industry in North America is a very big industry, as you know. We do about $24.7 billion in sales last year. That's our most recent tally for 2018. That was up about 5% from the year before. The market is growing very strongly in North America and is a large market. Here's sort of how it's been tracking. So the top line are the percentage changes on each of those years in the promotional products space. So ranging from 5.1% to about 3% growth in the 16 period to the 4.9% growth that I mentioned in 2018. The market in North America has been growing at nearly twice the rate of the general economy in the United States. So we are in a growing industry where there's a lot of excitement going on, and we feel great about that industry and how we are growing the industry and providing promotional products that create a great return on investment. There's a lot of similarities, I think, between the marketplaces in North America and here in Africa and South Africa. I'll drill down to a couple of key differences, but some of the similarities. Suppliers are incredibly important in identifying the products and services that need to be offered in the marketplace. They import those products and warehouse those, a huge capital investment. I was just at Amrod's offices this week. Really an incredible, professional, world-class operation. If you haven't visited, how many people have been to Amrod's offices, their new offices? I'm looking at probably about 40% of the audience. If you haven't been there, I would really urge you to go. It is an incredibly impressive place, truly world-class. I visited factories and supplier activities all across the world, and that really is an A-plus activity. So those manufacturers bring in the product and wholesale it. That's very similar. And then the distributors, like those of you in this room, are really the cogs that make this wheel turn. You are the ones that go and visit the clients, listen to the clients about what kind of business problems they have, and then solve those business problems with appropriate promotional products, hard goods as well as apparel. And that is an incredibly important part, and the roles there are very similar to the roles that are in North America. There are a couple of differences. First of all, in North America, almost all of the suppliers of apparel sell the apparel blank. They do not decorate the apparel. And the apparel is then shipped to a decorator that actually will do the embroidery or screen printing or whatever the type of decoration that you've chosen as a distributor to do. I think that your model here is much better. I think the ability for you to have finished product delivered to you is an incredible advantage you have in the marketplace that does not really exist yet in the United States marketplace. And I think that's a huge opportunity for you to really have great service and a really simpler process. In North America, that's a multiple-step process. So a distributor orders the product from the supplier ships it to a decorator, the decorator has been selected by the distributor then has to ship it to themselves or their clients. So there's multiple shipping points, multiple invoices, a much more complicated and confusing activity. We've been encouraging suppliers of apparel to do the decorating. We're seeing a trend there beginning, but we are far, far behind where you are in terms of that activity here in Africa. Also, give yourselves a round of applause. I think one other difference is that we have a lot of scale, but a very similar activity is we have a lot of distributors that are really working by themselves or with a partner. And they may have a part-time person they work with to help them with clerical activities or whatever, but we have a tremendous number of smaller distributors that are very successful and make a great business for themselves, and I think that is another great similarity between the two worlds. But the difference here in terms of size is one I would mention. So in North America, we do a lot of research at ASI. And in North America, let me just give you a range here of the sizes of some of these organizations. So the top distributor in North America does, anybody want to guess? Top distributor in North America. I think it's on the screen behind me. I didn't hear anybody yell it out, though. That was sort of $680 million. The top distributor in North America does $680 million. The 40th largest does $42 million. $42 million. But there are 20,000. So it goes down to a fairly small number. But to me, that is one of the benefits of our industry. We have the ability to run our business the way we want and to grow our business to be as large as this business, which I'll get into in a second, but also to maintain a great business at a much smaller place. In terms of the suppliers, again, we rank all the suppliers every year from 1 to 40. The number one supplier last year did $1.4 billion in sales. $1.4 billion in sales. Most of that is in apparel, blank apparel. They also do some imprinting, and they also have some hard goods. The number 40 supplier did $34 million. $34 million, the number 40. But remember, there are 3,000 of them. So they get $1 million, $2 million suppliers fairly quickly. There's a lot of smaller suppliers in our network. This is a very important client of ours, an important case study I wanted to share a bit about. The company is called Forimprint. Forimprint's the number one distributor in North America. They do all of their business online, e-commerce. They have no salespeople in the field. 100% e-commerce. They are really the first successful e-commerce player in North America. They morphed. They had been a traditional distributor using catalogs and driving traffic to their phones through catalog, and they moved digitally, and they still do catalog, but the digital business has just grown unbelievably. 10 years ago, catalogs were really the only way they drove traffic and got orders, and now they are 100% online. They're based in London, but 95% of their business is in North America. So they came from London, they came into the United States, they bought a small business, they built the business, and now it has completely outstripped the size of their business that they have in Europe. They are publicly traded on the London Stock Exchange. One of the only promotional product suppliers or distributors in North America that are publicly traded. So they did $608 million of revenue in 2017, and they made, in 2018. In 17, they did $625 million. Incredible growth year over year, all from digital growth, investing in their platform of digital activity, using social media to reach out, using advertising to reach out. You're going to hear a lot about social media in a few minutes, an incredibly important part of the business model for at least Forimprint. They're targeting to be $1 billion as a distributor by 2022. 2022. Used to sound like it was a long way away and impossible, but I think they have a really great shot at hitting that $1 billion. The CEO is named Kevin Lyons-Tarr. He is a master. He has been there about 25 years. He also has started now advertising on TV and radio the idea of buying promotional products, not only for your business, but also for your consumer activities. So their advertising is, yes, about businesses and how they can use promotional products, but also about, are you having a family reunion? Are you having a college get-together? Are you having some sort of an alumni event? You should buy promotional products to drive that personal activity as well. So they're really trying to go beyond that typical business-to-business buying and purchasing that they've really long supported. So they've driven this consumer demand and loyalty. Their loyalty is tremendous. About 40% of their orders are reorders from people that have purchased from them before. So a great reorder percentage. They also turn products around very quickly. So their basic promise is that they will get you the product you need within 24, 48 hours if that's how quickly you need it. So on their website, they're very clear about what they can deliver in that quick of a time. Really great business and really an interesting one. It's been fast growing, but we also catalog the fastest growing distributors in the industry in North America. This is a chart from last year's top 10 fastest growing distributors showing percentage growth. You'll see it's over 200% for some of the distributors down to, I think the lowest growth was 65% for number 10. And on the right, you're going to see Kelly Stone. She's CEO of the number one fastest growing company. It's called the Idea Box. Kelly started out as the founder of her business, the only employee. But she knew that she wanted to get bigger and get profitable quickly. She has done an incredibly great job of partnering with her clients, not to sell products, to sell them ideas that will solve their business and marketing problems. I think that in the industry in North America, one of the issues we have is that we focus too much on the product at the beginning, and we don't just slow down and go to the client and talk to the client about what are your goals for the next 12 months as a business? Who are the audiences you are trying to reach? What are the age groups you're trying to reach? Do you have product launches? What kinds of things are happening in your business so that I can better understand how to come back to you with proposals to help you use promotional products to solve those business problems you have? Every business person in this room and every business person in South Africa has a long list of business problems they'd like to tackle, and they need help. And that's the help that you can provide them. So that is how Kelly has really built her business. She had a growth of 212% from 15 to 17. She's now in the low single millions of dollars of revenue. Again, starting out just a few years ago as a single person operating her business. She said, this is a quote from her, "I'm a true marketing partner who tries to deliver value through tailored custom marketing programs to produce ROI for my customers. She is fanatical about every single order. She follows up. She makes sure that what she promised was delivered." Here's another difference between the States and here. Most products are delivered from the supplier directly to the buyer. So we drop ship. Most of the suppliers drop ship. The distributor never takes possession, never sees the product before it's delivered to the client. I know for many of you that seems almost impossible to imagine, but it works incredibly well in the United States. It takes out time that occurs. The shipment can get there very quickly. It also allows that relationship between that distributor and supplier to be stronger than ever, because the distributor has to really trust that supplier is going to deliver on time and as promised. So Kelly does that just as we all do in North America, but she is fanatical about making sure that her products are delivered on time, following up, and being just an exceptional customer service person with her clients. Next up, let me talk a little bit about our distributor entrepreneur. He's quite a unique guy, as you can see from the photo. He's about as unique as he looks there, I think. His name's Mitch Munger. Mitch was the CEO of Sunrise Identity, and he is one of the coolest guys in the industry. He's a guy you want to have a drink with, hang out with. He, in fact, was the 2018 Distributor Entrepreneur of the Year in North America for the marketplace. And he's done a lot of very unique things. One of his first best ideas was hiring. He started his business. He was doing about $200,000 or $300,000, and he knew he needed to bring on a second person. And he found this guy who was selling T-shirts and was a screen printer. He said, "Okay, you're a unique guy. You're pretty hip. Let's work together." Well, that guy, who's now the chief operating officer of the company, happened to also be selling T-shirts for Starbucks, to Starbucks, to all their employees. And it was when they had just a few stores. So this gentleman made an incredibly brilliant decision, which was hiring someone who had a great relationship with Starbucks to help jumpstart their business. But interestingly enough, the place they've had their most business growth in the last 5 years has been on Amazon. So I know Amazon is not, anybody here use Amazon? I think Amazon's not such a big thing here, right? Got a few hands here. I think Take-A-Lot, right? How many people use Take-A-Lot? A lot more hands. Okay. So in the States, and I'll get into this in a second, there's a lot of fear in our industry about Amazon. I'll talk about that in a minute. But he looked at this and said, what can I do to leverage that huge Amazon presence that is ubiquitous? If this was in North America, every hand here would have been up as an Amazon user, literally every single hand. And so he started working with Amazon and created a relationship with them in which he is now selling promotional products on Amazon, and that is his e-commerce platform partner. He is doing $10 or $15 million a year of promotional products on that Amazon platform. Now, it's not so easy. One issue with working with Amazon, I'm not sure how the alternatives are in South America. in South Africa. But one of the issues for him is that Amazon owns the client. That is a huge issue to overcome. And so he really has to rely on business that's repeat business, but not business he can reach out to. He has no way to communicate to those buyers because he's not able to communicate with those buyers at all. But he's got thousands of products. He has over 5,000 products and 16,000 SKUs on the Amazon platform. And he offers quantities as low as 20 of one product. So this is another individual and another marketplace and another way to look at this. But that issue with Amazon owning the client is a huge, big issue for him, and one that long-term I'm not sure how he'll resolve. The good news for him is he just sold his business after building it up, tens of millions of dollars in revenue, to a more traditional distributor who really wanted to get into the Amazon space. Speaking of Amazon, we did a survey of all of the ASI members. I mentioned there's 23,500 members. There's about 160,000 people in those organizations. And we said to them, what's the biggest threat you think for the industry in North America? And they said, Amazon. 72% said Amazon. And I think their fear is grounded in the fact that, Amazon could come into our marketplace and offer product. And that's why it's incredibly important everywhere for us to be focused on solving those business problems and understanding them and not simply peddling product. Because if we continue to be only or turn into an organization or an industry where it's all about the product only and not about the business problem, we are able to be cut out of the equation. So I think we all have to focus on what do we do to differentiate ourselves and solve those problems of our customers. I think, in fact, Amazon's not the biggest threat. I think from Amazon, what I'm concerned about is the level of service they have created as an expectation of all clients. And so with Amazon, I'll just describe you a little bit how it works since only a few of you use it. With Amazon, they offer free delivery and incredible amounts of tracking. So literally, I could, right now on the stage, order a product from Amazon. Within roughly 5 seconds, I would have a confirmation notification. And from the moment the product was being picked off the shelf in a warehouse, I would be able to go online and see exactly every step of the way what was happening. When the product was picked up by the delivery service, UPS or FedEx in this case, I would see exactly where the product was picked up, and I would be able to follow it literally along the entire delivery path right to my home. In the last year, the innovations have been astounding to me that Amazon is driving. And it's driving expectation, because this is all about expectation setting, right? So now on Amazon, partnering with the delivery services, I will literally get a message on my phone that says, your package is 6 stops away from your house. Do you want to redirect it to a different place? Because we can still do that for you. Okay? Now, it arrives at your home. Anyone want to guess what they do? It arrives at my home. What happens? They take a photograph of it, and they send you the photograph so you know where it was left outside your house. True. True. Okay? I know that may not happen here. I've heard stories that occasionally things might disappear. Another difference between the South African market and the US market. But think about that service level. Think about that expectation that's being set for something as simple as a product that I might have purchased on Amazon. So that's one fear factor for our industry, broadly defined, I think, which is as online services like Take-A-Lot create an expectation of communication, create an expectation of what will I know about this package and this product that I just delivered. What do we do in our industry to work more closely together between the suppliers and the distributors to be able to provide that level of clarity, that level of communication, that level of transparency? Because you might have a client that is spending $5,000 with you on something vital to them, and the transparency may not be nearly as great as the transparency I just described to you for something that's much less important than a $5,000 order that's coming to them because it's vital to their product launch. So we all have to work together in North America, and we're working very hard on this. But it's very expensive, and you have to partner with the right people. One of the things that's very exciting about what Amron is doing and what I saw at their location is lots of technology development, lots of investment. These are expensive systems to put in place. And that integration with distributors and suppliers is incredibly important as well. So I think that is a partnership piece that really is very vital to the business that you have and the relationship you have with our hosts today. Let me describe another fear factor that really our industry is not talking about in North America, but I experienced myself. Again, I'm a big Amazon buyer. I had a new floor installed in my house. And I said to the installer, what kind of mop should I use on this floor? And he said, you need a certain kind of mop. Okay, great. He gave me all the keywords. I went on Amazon, put in the keywords, hit the button, up comes a mop. $19.99, okay, so $20 US for this mop. Okay, it's 7 to 10 days delivery time, it's out of stock, etc. Click the button, order it to be delivered to my home. A week later, my doorbell rings, I go to the door, it's a delivery man. He has this box. The box on the side is all in Chinese. The label is all in Chinese except my name. I look on the side and it says, contains silver mop. I open it up. Here's a package at my doorstep 10 days after I ordered it online from Amazon that had come directly from a China factory for $20, including shipping. Wow. Wow. So let's talk about clients that say they want something in 48 hours and you think that's ridiculous to ask for. Or I need this in a week, and you say, gosh, how can they expect me to have this product for them in a week? There's so much work that goes into this. Yes, our products are all custom. Yes, every single product that someone receives has been personalized to their business. But the expectations that are building, at least in North America with what Amazon is doing, and what will be happening here at some point, if it isn't already happening, is changing the face of what businesses and the people in those businesses expect in terms of service, delivery time, quality, and pricing. And incredibly importantly, transparency. The mop, by the way, was pretty good. Okay? I'm not really a mopper, but it worked pretty well. So let's see the hands for people that use Take-A-Lot again. Take-A-Lot, okay. So right here in the front, I saw it right here, this right here, okay, stand up. I got a question. So of their orders, how often do you deliver, how often do you buy from them? Twice a month. And how often do they, mess up an order? Never. Anybody here ever had an order messed up? I got one or two hands, okay? So we did a survey in North America of distributors, and we said, of the orders you placed last year with suppliers, these 3,000 suppliers, how many arrived on time in 2017? 93%. So I presented this to suppliers, and they were thrilled. A big supplier audience, they were thrilled. I said, this is terrible. You got to be at 99%. You can't be at 93%. That means 7% of the packages and the work that you do doesn't actually make it to the client on time. So that's an area where, the numbers were very impressive here. I think you were at 98.5% or something in terms of the decoration. The world is changing super fast, and one of them is our industry, at least in North America, is lagging behind in expectations that people have for near perfection. People expect near perfection. And in North America, for sure, we are lagging behind. We have to have that Amazon experience, that Take-A-Lot experience for our clients, because that's the expectation that they have that is being built. If Amazon missed 7% of my orders, I would never use them again. So we've got to be better than this. So what do we advise clients of ours and suppliers and distributors in North America? What do you do to overcome the fear that people have about alternatives? And what can distributors do to really make themselves set apart in a way that is sustainable? It's really a sustainable competitive advantage. And here are some of the things that we are talking about. We're really encouraging distributors to operate more like an agency that really delivers ideas, because that will differentiate you from your competition. It isn't just about price. It isn't just about delivery. Certainly the price has to be right, the delivery has to be right, but it's really about how do you act like an agency that is really solving a problem for a client. You've also got to provide Amazon-like service and speed and transparency. That's really what people desire, and that is what they are going to need, and especially as new buyers come into the marketplace. We are seeing in North America an incredible influx of buyers that are in the age of 22 to 30 years old. They are digital natives. They have only purchased using digital platforms. This is how they operate. This is how they think. So that is really incredibly important. Let me shift now to the ASI advertising impression study. We do a study every year, principally in North America. We go all around the world, and we ask a lot of questions, not of distributors and not of suppliers, but we ask questions of people that have promotional products that they've received from their employer, from someone they have a partnership with. These are people that really have the products in their possession. We go to their homes, we go on the street, and we stop them on the street. We do digital surveys. So this is information gleaned from all of that kind of interaction in the surveys. We conduct this about every 18 months. We have about 200,000 responses over the course of the 10 years we've been doing this. So we have an incredible response base, and we provide a lot of demographic information I won't get into here, but we really create this urging distributors to share it with their clients. And in fact, it's on our website, asicentral.com/study, and I'll share it with Amrod. They can share it with you. because there's a lot of great information in here, and it's all about the perceptions that people have of promotional products. So these are the recipients, not the professionals like those of you in the room. This is about people that are really getting them and have them. So in addition to the impressive stats here, and you'll see a few of them here, we have about 140 downloadable infographics that you can use in social media and other ways. So lots of great information here. First of all is recall. So what's the return on investment of using a promotional product? You all came here and you passed lots of advertising. You might have gotten up this morning and listened to a radio. You might have read a newspaper online. Most likely you may have used some websites. Lots of advertising flying by you. But yet, if I ask you to describe to me some of the advertising and the brands you saw on the web or on a radio or on a billboard, most of you couldn't recall one single one of them accurately. And you passed dozens or hundreds. Every day we have thousands of advertising flying past us. But in fact, what we discovered is that 85% of the people recall the brands on promotional products that they have. So we stopped people on the street corner and we said, do you have anything in your backpack that has a logo on it? Yeah. Okay. What is it? And they could name 85% of the time they were 100% accurate of what that brand was that they had. That is an incredible return on the investment. Budweiser, we have this huge thing you guys have heard of called the Super Bowl. Okay, it's our football, the other football, right? Budweiser spent about $30 million on its commercials this year. $30 million. 3 weeks later, survey says fewer than 20% of the people surveyed could describe anything about a Budweiser ad. Most of them had no idea Budweiser had an ad. Now, I don't know about you all, but if one of you got a call from Budweiser and said, I got $30 million to spend on promotional products, do you think that you could use that to grow their business better than those ads did that nobody remembered 2 weeks later? Yes? So 85% recall. Also, consumers are 2.5 times more likely to have a positive opinion of a company if they get a promotional product from that company. They love this. Promotional products are the only advertising that people thank you for, right? I have never once thanked anyone for a TV ad, or for a radio ad, or for a newspaper ad, or a Yellow Pages ad, or any of the other ads, billboards. Never once. And yet every single person, if the product is appropriate to the marketplace, and that's where you all make sure that happens, right? They thank the advertiser for giving them the product. Thank you for this great fleece. Thank you for these shorts. You know, they get excited and enthusiastic like our MC is about his McDonald's shorts, right? And his friend on the street was even more enthusiastic, I guess. The cost per impression is something else we track. So for years, and this was a big level of frustration for me, for years we would have and hear information about the cost per impression of a digital ad on the internet or a newspaper ad or a magazine ad. And so we've done a lot of work in this surveying to find out what is the cost per impression of a brand appearing on a backpack or a satchel or some sort of a grocery bag or any of the other kinds of things that people use. And the cost per impression can be as low as 1/10 of a cent. 1/10 of a cent. It is among the most reasonably priced product that you can buy to promote a business, promotional products. And it's something we're super proud of. Here's something about households. We did it by generation. So millennials, which is 22 to 37, they own an average of 30 promotional products. 38 to 53, the Gen Xers, they own 34. And the baby boomers, which are 54 to 72, they own about 28 products. So everyone loves promotional products. They have them in their homes, and they use them. And this is great, powerful information in terms of your clients and your prospects about the return on investment. There's a lot of differences, though. We hear a lot of differences between these different groups. For instance, our research shows that millennials want promotional products that are pretty fun. They really like something that's been crafted, not manufactured. So we're seeing a lot of trends in North America with suppliers and distributors working together to really tell the story of the product that is going to be given away. So it isn't as simple as just this is a T-shirt or this is a shirt. It's a little bit of a story. Where did it come from? Where was the cotton grown? Where was it crafted? They want things that are crafted, not manufactured. They're very interested in whether it's eco-friendly. You know, was there less water used in the creation of this merchandise than as alternatives because water shortages are around the world. So those are some differences between millennials and others. Millennials also love custom products. So we talked to them about our product. They really want to make it they want it to feel like it was made for them and crafted for them, not just a commodity product that everyone could have. And then this other trend, which is called the dirt to shirt movement. So really explaining, where did this shirt come from? We see this especially in apparel. Where did this shirt come from? You know, is it synthetic? Is it recyclable? Is it made of recyclable? And there's some suppliers in North American distributors that are working on tagging that actually explains that story because the brands in North America really want to affiliate with eco-friendly, with brands that really matter, that products that really meet that kind of a demand. We also are looking at lots of different kinds of markets, and so some of the research we do is about the markets that are emerging. A very new market for us, and I know it's confusing and complicated in lots of places, but one is a big growing market in North America is for marijuana. It has been legalized in a number of states, both the use for medicinal purposes and also recreational purposes, and it is a huge deal. It is, in fact, the biggest growth area of promotional products in probably at least 10 years is in promotion of marijuana. So it's very complicated, just like it is, I think, here. Every of the 50 states in North America, in the United States, have different requirements, so it's a state-by-state requirement. Strict rules. The good news from a promotional products perspective is that most of the advertising has been outlawed in the United States. Promotional products have not been. So for businesses that are selling marijuana or oil and et cetera, they're able to use promotional products to promote their businesses as long as the products are things that are appropriate to people that are over age 21 and all sorts of other requirements in terms of demographics. But much of it is outlawed. Billboards are outlawed in most places, print advertising, TV advertising. They don't want people to reach children and people under age 21. So a much more controlled environment. Let's shift now to, we produce something we call the State of the Industry every year. The State of the Industry is really a broad survey we do of distributors and suppliers. And I'll just share with you some of the key stats that we have from this year's survey. It talks about leading markets, products, and opportunities. We publish it online as well as in our Counselor magazine. One example is some rise and fall of some product categories. So we track over time which categories are growing and which ones are shrinking. As you can see here, I think there's a lot of movement in some of these categories. I pulled ones that had dropped a little bit. For instance, bags had been about 12% of the industry. They're now down to about 8%. High tech, though, has gone from 4 to almost 8% of the industry. High tech is hot everywhere around the world, and especially the right kind of high tech. So mobile device products that work with mobile devices. So anything that charges a phone, is involved in an extra battery pack, something that maybe props a phone up, and I saw that from one of the earliest products you had 20 years ago. Those are all very important. So that sort of mobile accessory category, I would say. The good news is also in North America that the high-tech companies, it's a huge industry in North America, they're having a really tough time getting employees. Unemployment in the United States, and this is, I know, an unfortunate contrast here, unemployment in the United States is basically zero. And a lot of that growth in jobs has been in the high-tech market, programmers, designers of products and services. And so those companies are all fighting every day to keep their employees, to keep them happy, to keep them engaged, and to recruit new employees. And so that has been a huge growth area in the promotional product space, helping just these technical companies be able to keep and retain their employees. The dominant markets in North America are pretty interesting. About 13% of the distributor revenue comes from one market, the education market. The education market in North America is cutthroat. It is mostly for-profit. Certainly it is some nonprofit, but there is a very big competition to attract students to high schools and to colleges and universities. And so there is a tremendous amount of promotional products used in that recruitment effort. There's also, of course, a lot of promotional products used in athletics. So that is the single biggest market in North America is from education. The other big ones, pharmaceutical and medical, which includes hospitals. Manufacturing is another big growth area. Manufacturing had declined for a number of years in North America, but is on the rise. So those are some of the markets that are really hot in North America right now. Profit margins. We've had a lot of people very concerned about profit margins. They talk about the competition in the marketplace, and my customers all want a lower price, and I've got these e-commerce players that are very active in my marketplace. In fact, our research shows that last year, the margin for distributors was about 35%. 35%. So this surveying and this work we do, by the way, is to not only help businesses think about their own business, but also to benchmark how people are doing compared to their competition. So 35% is the margin. Despite all this aggressiveness, there is aggressive. Everyone wants a great price. There's all sorts of pricing issues. But that margin is in fact, the highest number we've had in the last 10 years in North America. Why is the margin so high? I was asked earlier today, why do you think the margin has been so high? We've done a lot of work on this, and one of the reasons is that most promotional products distributors in North America are not just offering promotional products. And in fact, in our latest survey, only about 65% of the revenue from a distributor came from the sale of promotional products. 35% was from other things. So we said, what are those other things? Print is one of the number one items. So letterhead, forms, business cards, point-of-sale displays, all sorts of printed activities that you can offer as a client, to your clients, because they need that kind of activity and that merchandise. But also things like fulfillment programs, so the ability to fulfill a program, to kit things, to create gifts for your clients, for a client, for their key clients. So it's really about diversifying your revenue streams away from just promotional products to other kinds of activities that make sense for your client. Let me give you one example. One of our clients was, in fact, he was mostly a printer, and he was a distributor. But he really hadn't focused on the promotional products much. And he was creating for a restaurant chain all of their handbooks for their employees. And he would print these, he would deliver them, a very commoditized business, right? A very commoditized business. And then he realized that these restaurant chains were having shirts and T-shirts and hats made for their new employees. And so he went to the owner of the company. He said, I've got a new idea for you. Let me do the promotional products. We'll put it in a box with the handbook. And every employee you have that comes on your staff will go on my website. They'll put in their name and information. And when they hit the button, I'll kit the package for them with the kinds of sizes of shirts they need for their shift, their hat, all the other things you're providing, plus the employee handbook, and I'll ship it to them. This turned into an incredibly big business for him. So he went from a commodity player of printing just a handbook to a provider of a real service to the restaurant owner, doing everything that restaurant owner, by the way, didn't want to do. Because the restaurant owner, how do you think that he was doing this in all of his restaurants? He had a closet someplace where he had a pile of shirts, and a new employee would come in and it's like, oh yeah, there's probably some mediums in the back someplace. Sort of not really professional, not really that polished. He turned sort of an unpolished, unprofessional activity into a great box that was delivered to the new employee's home within just a couple of days of them joining. And here's the other piece of this that I think is fascinating. He then went back and he said, you know what? You have such turnover. In North America, the turnover in restaurants is about 100% for waiters and waitresses, about 100%. It can be even higher, depending on where it is. He said, you should make them buy this stuff. I'll put a credit card spot on the form, and we'll have them pay. And the restaurant guy's like, gosh, who's going to do that? The customer of ours said, let's try it out. See what happens. So he took a cost to a break even, and then, by the way, to a profit. So every employee that joined had to go online, order 2 shirts for their 2 shifts. They had a couple of other things they had to buy. They put in a credit card. They were charged $20 for this. And now the restaurant went from having a cost to having a break even to having a slight profit. And that was because the distributor heard the problems that this restaurant chain was having. High turnover. We give them 2 shirts, they never even come back for their first shift. Okay? So it went from that kind of a conversation, hearing what are the pain points you have as a business, and then thinking it through, how do I as a distributor solve that pain point? And that has created much better returns. And we find, in fact, that the very largest, most successful distributors are the ones that are doing multiple kinds of products, multiple kinds of services for their clients. They're not just selling a promotional product. Let's talk just for a second about social media. I mean, you've got a great presenter who I met a little earlier who's going to do a great job about social media. I'll just touch on one piece. You really need to have a social media strategy. How many people here feel as if they've got a great social media strategy for Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and all these? Okay, I see maybe 10 hands. Okay? So I'm going to give you a little challenge. You really have to figure this out, and I'm sure it's developing in different areas and with different clients in different kinds of ways. But our customers in North America tell us that most of them have no strategy at all. So if you look at the very last bar, all distributors, 10% have a well-defined strategy, 22% say that it's somewhat well-defined, which means it probably isn't at all, 40% say that they are starting to look at it, and 28% said they have no strategy at all in terms of social media. This is an incredibly important part of the business because those younger audiences are using social media, and you need to reach them in social media. Let me now just wrap up by sharing just some advice that I've been sharing with the U.S. audiences. First of all, to succeed, you need to really invest in yourself. You're going to get the highest return on your investment. And that's not just about money, it's about time. Something that's very impressive to me is we have so many people in this room who are taking a day out of their time to invest in themselves, to learn more about products and services, to learn more about what's going on in the industry, and that is super important. And I think that, to me, is one of the most important investments you can make in yourself. Keep up with trends, keep up with markets, innovations. Here's another piece. If you're uncomfortable with social media, find somebody who's 18 or 19 or 20 years old and hire them as an intern or bring them on board for a few weeks to help train you. And say, gosh, you know, you're a university student. Can you come in and spend a couple of months during your break, or a few weeks even during your break, to help me and my staff learn how to set up LinkedIn and how to set up social media and how to think about this. Those investments will really pay off. The last point I would make is invest in technology and partner with the right people. Amrod has done a great job of developing technology, lots of innovation that they're doing that's really impressive. It is very important that you also do a level of investment in yourselves. Make sure that you're thinking about what kind of technology do you need to have to run your business and to manage your business. And then, of course, partner with people like Amrod so that you're actually leveraging that technology across everything you do every day. Thank you so much for the time today. I'm easy to find. You can email me anytime you have any questions. I'll be around all day, so I look forward to meeting all of you during the day. Thank you so much.